Welcome to Cheese in Depth. I'm Michael Landis, and today we have Ferndale Creamery on and Farmstead. And I'm going to turn it over right now to Patrick, and he's going to do the introductions and talk a little bit about what they do. Patrick.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm super excited to introduce my friend Daniel Wavrin from Ferndale Farmstead. He is the cheesemaker extraordinaire. There's a he might show of when I think he was probably 16. He's probably all of, I don't know, 28 now. But I met Daniel about 6 years ago. I think it was at an ACS. When you and your dad were just poking around trying to see what you're going to do next in the dairy industry, which I'm sure you'll touch on. It's quite a wonderful story from so many levels, and I'm proud to be associated with the family and with Daniel. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Michael, for the introduction. It's nice to be here. I'm glad to tell you guys and our viewers a little bit about Ferndale Farmstead Creamery. We are a family operation and farmstead operation, obviously, as our name implies. We have about 600 milking head of cows on our farm, and we make cheese in the Italian style out of the milk that's produced on site where our creamery is located. We find that to be pretty special for a number of reasons. I'll kind of talk about that, and I've got a few pictures of our operation to kind of guide the discussion today. So I'll share my screen and pop up a few photos for you all to kind of tag along, and we'll do a virtual tour of the farm. This time of the year, it is usually a great time to visit the farm and actually do an on-farm tour. If you happen to be in Washington State or visiting Seattle or throughout the Pacific Northwest, we're pretty far north, just south of the Canadian border, maybe 15 miles. But if you're ever traveling between Seattle and Vancouver, BC, we're sort of just a quick pit stop off the road. So this is actually a picture of our farm off that road in Ferndale. This is Mount Baker behind us in the North Cascades mountain range in Washington State. And that's the backdrop for our beautiful farm, which sits on about 70 acres here in this photo, but overall we farm about 600 acres, primarily grass-based farmland to support the approximately 680 milking head of cows that live here. The building on the far right side of the screen, the red kind of barn-looking attachment to the right of the milking parlor, is the actual creamery where we make the cheese. And the cows go to milk twice a day from the barns into the milking parlor, and we're able to pump that milk directly into the creamery from the tank on the farm, and make cheese just hours after the milk has been harvested. It's a pretty special setup, we think. You know, kind of a special way for us as a family to highlight the hard work that we do along with our entire crew, day in and day out, on the farm side, as well as on the dairy side, and finally now to make cheese. So we use the philosophy from seed to cheese. That's kind of our approach. We literally plant the seed of grass in the soil in the spring, harvest it in the fall, feed the cows through the winter, raise their calves, bring them into the parlor to be milked, like I said, twice per day, and make that cheese in the morning, package it, and send it out from the farm to grocery stores, restaurants, and homes all across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast. So that's pretty much our mission, from the seed in our soil to the cheese on your table. Seed to cheese is what we like to say. The reason we got into making cheese in the first place is, you know, as a family, my father and my uncle are business partners. My father on the far left is a veterinarian and by trade, and then my uncle near the very far right side, third from the right, is his partner and our agronomist who manages the crops on our farm. So between the two of them, over the last 30 years in Washington State, we've been able to basically create a vertically integrated dairy farming business that lends itself very well to cheese making, in our opinion. And so we set out a few years ago as a family project to make cheese and just kind of showcase the quality of the milk on our farm here in Ferndale. This is a picture of our farm actually on the eastern part of the state where I'm originally from. This is a field of alfalfa, and this is what we use to make hay on the eastern side of the state where it's very dry and arid. That hay helps sustain us through the winter on the west side of the state. But between our two farms, we produce about 85 to 90% of the feed for the cows at Ferndale Farmstead cheese. So we have a nice level of control as cheesemakers over the kind of level of nutrition and health of the cow, which really allows us to control the quality of the cheese at the end of the day. This is a sort of a mix of our grasses and clovers that you'll see out in the fields growing. We certainly try to provide a diverse array of forages for the cows, and corn, alfalfa, grass, clovers, all types of grains are involved in kind of a well-rounded and specifically formulated diet for cheese making. We shoot for having a very rich cheese milk all year long, and we're able to just use basically the milk throughout the year on the farm to make the cheese. And then some of that also goes to our cooperative who processes the milk into fluid and other products. But we just do this kind of a value-added project on the farm to make cheese. Again, like I said, in the Italian tradition. This is a kind of a cool photo, I think, just showing kind of the full circle on the animal side, a mother and her daughter. This is a beautiful crossbreed that we do, which is a cross between a Holstein and a Scandinavian red breed. It creates this kind of a blue jean or denim kind of look, I think, to the cows. We joke and we call them blue cows. And they're, I think, a very kind of balanced mix between the two herd breeds that make up our farm, which is Holstein cows, which is about 50%. And I think we're just actually slightly over 50% now Jersey. So just under 50% Holstein, the black and white, and just over 50% Jersey, which adds a very rich butter fat across the board to all of our cheese flavors, I find. This is a photo of my father, Bill. Again, the real reason we started the cheese project is to highlight the passion behind the farming enterprise and the hard work that goes into making food for people every day. And I've been able to see kind of a unique perspective in that growing up on the farm, and with a father who's very passionate about the animals as a veterinarian. Really everything we do at Ferndale Farmstead comes back to the animal. And of course, her relationship with the land, which we're stewards of. So a large part of our conversation when we're on the farm with visitors is around stewardship, sustainability, and these words that I think have a lot to do with different styles in food production. I think people's choices at the end of the day when they're in the supermarket. For us, again, we choose the seed to cheese approach and philosophy. For us, it's the best way to know your farmer. And this is your farmer. If you're buying Ferndale Farmstead cheese, his name is Bill. He happens to be my dad. These are a couple of the stars of the show. These are some of the Jersey girls. The brown coat is an obvious indicator of that. And 779 seems to be smiling in this photo. They are happy cows. We certainly shoot to have happy cows here in Washington as well. It's something I've had, like I said, a unique kind of ability to have perspective into, having participated in kind of all parts of the farming enterprise, from raking the hay and harvesting the hay in high school, to feeding the calves and milking the cows, after college and sort of while we were building the cheese plant. It's been a very cool perspective, I think, to literally see every part of our process from seed to cheese growing up. And it's really helped me form my philosophy as a farmstead cheesemaker and as an artisan cheesemaker. Couple more of the shots in the line. This is a line of Holsteins, and there's a Montbéliard breed stuck in the middle there randomly. We are always messing around with kind of new things, but there's very little of those in our herd. She's kind of a special cow. Milk quality obviously is something we're striving for every day. I think this photo is of our milking parlor, which to the average consumer, I think we're often the first milking parlor they've set foot in when they visit our farm. It's a great opportunity for kids and adults alike to kind of see modern food production in its real form. And these are machines that humans attach to animals and they help us harvest the milk, but it's still very much a human and animal interaction. And so we try to allow people into the farm, into the barns to see that, which is just steps away from our beautiful creamery. This was taken just after we completed construction in 2015 of our creamery for the purposes of making cheese. We bought this farm in 2009 for the purposes of doing a value-added project as a family, and I set out to learn how to make cheese at the age of 19. I traveled around the country to Vermont, Wisconsin, California, Washington, Oregon, obviously visited various facilities, various cheesemakers, and took short courses at several different universities to try to form an understanding of what cheesemaking is and how we'd like to go about doing that. And certainly the West Coast cheesemakers, as I was sort of traveled up the coast, were just so open with sharing information, sharing their experiences about getting into the cheese making business, that it really encouraged me and my family to pursue a project, which is a big project for us. We're farmers. We've never made a retail product before, but the whole idea of Ferndale Farmstead is to kind of take the bounty of the Pacific Northwest in farming and translate that into a product that we can feel proud of and bring to market for people to enjoy in their homes throughout the Pacific Northwest and hopefully beyond as well. I'll jump back into the pictures a bit. There's quite a few pictures, and they'll kind of guide, I think, the discussion. The farm for sure is where a lot of our, I think, uniqueness lies. As artisan cheesemakers, we're always trying to find ways to differentiate and make our cheeses special. And as I was studying cheese, it became pretty clear that farmstead cheesemaking was a unique niche within the artisan craft that not all cheesemakers are able to produce, and it's sort of a unique product in that way because of that. It requires being in an area where farms are plentiful, where there's milk available for purchase, and there's good quality milk as well. So here on the West Coast, we've got, I think, a unique bounty, again, in sort of very rich dairy, very rich agriculture, and it makes very rich cheese in my experience as well. And we've had a chance over the last 6 years, since 2015, to make many different styles of cheese, many different recipes. And overall, I would say, while not all the cheese has always been good, certainly I think the flavor and the terroir of the Northwest generally shines through, especially over time with aged cheeses. And we get a very clean flavor profile across the board for all of our Italian style cheeses, many of which are common named cheeses: Asiago Fresco, Fontina, and Scamorza. are some of these, but we do make sort of a whole line of Italian heritage cheeses in a state-of-the-art facility. We'll take you inside the facility here now and give you a little bit of a glimpse. So going from now the farm to the sanitary zone, this is our entryway into our facility, our creamery. We have two basically sides to the creamery. To the right side of these doors is our make room, and to the left side is our affinage facility, basically our affinage rooms. We have two dedicated aging rooms with different climates to age different types of natural rind cheeses. We have brine that is made to make all different types of aged brine cheeses. And we are equipped with pasta filata equipment that was manufactured in Italy, specifically engineered in Italy to make mozzarella to the highest standards across the world. So we are very lucky to, again, as cheesemakers, not only have access to pristine milk, but then being able to take that milk, pasteurize it, and bring it into a state-of-the-art facility that was built just for making the types of cheese that we do, really allows us, I think, to produce products that are a cut above even what's currently available in the United States. This is one of our aging rooms. This is one of those pictures Patrick was referring to. That was probably when I was 16 years old, it looks like. It was quite a while back, but this was me at one point. No, I'm joking. This was maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, shortly after we were starting up and commissioning our facility. I've got a sparkle in my eye, clearly, still. This is one of our original cheesemakers in the photo here with me, Dan Utano. Dan helped me start the facility with my mentor, Raphael. And the three of us were sort of the original cheesemakers that developed the food safety systems, the recipes, and the processes that we still adhere to this day. So I always like to touch on that. I think, we call ourselves cheese artisans, and I think defining artisan is important. To me, artisan means that we make cheese to an original standard that an artisan, a single artisan, or a group of artisans, in our case, a small group of Italian artisans, instructed us and taught us to, and holding the level of quality to that original standard going into the decades to come is our goal. So we really think that the art of cheese is a mix of craftsmanship and the actual technique, the art, the feel. And I was very lucky to learn sort of those two things from two different individuals. The food safety part of our business we focused on first. Dan Utano was instrumental in helping us sort of put our food safety program together and put together the foundation for producing safe cheese. And day in and day out, that's our number one goal, is to produce safe cheese. If we're able to do that, it makes it much easier to produce a high quality cheese, which obviously everybody wants something that tastes good. So we definitely shoot for flavor at the end of the day. This is kind of a cool tool that we use to get some of that flavor and some of that unique identity within each of our cheeses. All of our cheese recipes were developed with the use of spinos. And this is kind of a cool cheese tool. They also go by the name of Lira in Italy, but it's a cheese tool that's really specific to that region of Italy, kind of northern Italy in particular, but really all over the country. Whether it's Parmesan or Grana, it's going to be cut often with a spino. So this is a ball of knives, essentially. I've not seen this be used in the United States other than in our facility. And I've visited, I think, between 40 and 50 at this point. So it's kind of a rare tool to find, again, in the United States, something much more common in European artisan cheese making. The reason for that really is it's something that is dictated by the eye of the artisan, and person to person, cut to cut will be different unless every person who steps to the vat is trying and striving to achieve the same original cut that the cheesemakers taught us. So that's what we do. I spent the first 7 months with my Italian mentor, Raffaele, cutting every vat with him with each different technique for each different recipe of cheese that we make. And that was sort of the beginning to me of understanding the level of artisanship and just beauty that is Italian cheese making. There's an intense amount of detail, and they do things quite a bit differently than a lot of my training in American and other European cheese making even. So we make pasta filata cheeses, which are spun paste or like stretched curd style cheese like mozzarella. And we do aged cheeses as well as some semi-fresh cheeses. So we kind of make everything from a cheese that's able to be eaten when it's 2 days old, coming right out of our facility, fresh mozzarella, all the way up to like a 2-year aged Grana style cheese that's full of crystals and crunch. So we do everything in the middle as well. This is a cool cheese called Ketchiota, which we make from cultures that we bring over from Italy. That's one of the, I think, most important parts when you're thinking about Ferndale Farmstead. In addition to kind of the seed to cheese aspect, we were able to really be blessed to work with a group of Italian gentlemen from the Campania region of southern Italy that taught me how to make all of these cheeses and actually came to visit our farm, and we're able to actually bring over cultures from Napoli in Italy that are made to make this cheese in its original place of origin. So that sets us a bit apart, and that the fact that our ingredients are coming from southern Italy and our recipes are coming from southern Italy, and our mentors came from southern Italy to our farm here in Ferndale to instruct us in making these cheeses properly. I take an intense amount of pride in that, and certainly the work that we all do as a team every day is to pay homage and respect to these products we make, which carry heritage names that are very old in many cases. Scamorza, and some of these cheeses have been being made for hundreds of years. So I say very proud to make these cheeses. This is sort of towards the aged end of our lineup. This is our affinage manager, Imelda. Imelda is just about to cross the 6-year mark with us. She actually scrubbed the walls in the facility with me the first days we commissioned the plant, and she's still here, manages our entire shipping program and affinage program, brines, as well as packaging. So she's really taken to the cheese making art. I think this is a cool picture of Imelda and our Fontina with its beautiful label, which we hand apply every wheel, and Imelda oversees every wheel every day. Actually, she's quite particular with her aging program, and as you see, it kind of results in a very clean, mold-free environment and cheese. At the end of the day, we strive to produce a very clean, natural rind cheese, and we're able to do so flipping the cheeses every single day. So we flip every single cheese every day, pretty much 6 days a week. So it's a lot of work, but I was taught that no corners were to be cut when it comes to making these styles of cheese, and we definitely take that to heart. Speaking of heart, this is sort of maybe the heart of our business here in front of us now. This is known as fior di latte, or fresh mozzarella. This is a cheese that Italy is known for. It's been produced for many generations there, in many different forms, whether it's from cow's milk or buffalo milk. We specialize in the cow's milk format, which is known as, like I said, fior di latte, which means blossom of milk in Italian. And if you go to the cheese counter in Italy wishing for cow's milk mozzarella, this is what you should ask for. For them, mozzarella would probably be more indicative of mozzarella di bufala, or buffalo milk mozzarella. And that's quite a bit of a different product. It has a different color. It's porcelain white, whereas you'll find our mozzarella to have a cream colored appearance. And we chose a natural approach, not using any dyes or whiteners in our mozzarella. And the color of our grasses shine through as such. The beta carotene from those grasses carries through the fat pigment in our milk and creates a rich, high butter fat, fior di latte style mozzarella that we developed in the Italian tradition. Again, using originally cultures and rennet from Naples, where this cheese was originally developed. We are very proud, also, I should note, to have taken home an ACS award for our fresh mozzarella. The last competition we had here in 2019, it won a gold medal for fresh mozzarella, ciliegine size, first place in the United States. So we were very proud to be awarded that recognition as a new and young cheesemaker on the West Coast of the United States. A similar cheese, somewhat, I guess, in the family of mozzarella that we're very proud to make is called Scamorza. I've mentioned a couple times, and this is a photo of that Scamorza hanging on racks. It hangs on ropes, and we hand form each cheese such that one can hang higher than the other and avoid touching on the aging rack. And in this way, over several weeks, the cheese ages, dries, and forms a natural rind, which then creates a sort of a case of yellow to hold the beautiful, salty, creamy, intensified mozzarella flavors that exist in Scamorza on the inside. It's a beautiful cheese. In Italy, they melt it often over a fire and scrape the paste out of the middle of the cheese. This was one I was very proud to make from the very beginning, and we've been awarded almost every year an award for this cheese. It's got a great, again, flavor that I think is everything that I've always looked for from a mozzarella. It has that and more, and that's Scamorza for me. You can see also kind of in the bottom of this picture some of our larger aged wheels. These were some of the first wheels that we made. This, as you can tell from the date in the bottom, was back in 2015. This was back in October of 2015 that this picture was taken, almost 5.5 years ago. And so you'll see some of our first batches of Grana style, kind of Parmesan style cheeses there in the bottom right, if you will. This is a version that we added shortly after starting up of our Scamorza, which is a smoked version. In Italy, is known as Scamorza Fumicata. We call ours Smoky Scamorza here in America, but it's styled after the exact same cheese in Italy with a very light wood, real wood smoke on the outside. This is one of my favorite cheeses. I'm not really a big smoked cheese fan, to be quite honest, but we shoot for just a very balanced, beautiful smoke on our smoked Scamorza. And you can see there that ropes, which we actually bring from Italy to age this cheese. We package them with the rope, and in that way you're getting a little bit of Italy with a little bit of Washington, all in the same package. I think it's really the best of both worlds. And again, we're very proud to make this product. I really believe this Scamorza is one of the best in the world. Here's some of our other smoked cheeses. We do a fresh family of cheeses, which includes mozzarella, Scamorza, which you've seen, and also provolone. We do a large loaf provolone and a smoked and a plain format, as well as loaf mozzarella. So quite a bit of different, again, shapes and different types of cheese we make. That was sort of one of the beautiful parts of choosing the Italian family of cheeses. They make so many different styles of cheese, even within one category of pasta filata, and they're so versatile in cooking. It's been a joy to use in the kitchen, and it's been great. Obviously, for me, growing up, I sort of snacked on cheddar and had chips and pretzels and stuff, more of a cheese plate type of experience. And certainly, I find our cheeses to fit cheese plate setting like this, but also they shine in the kitchen in a culinary setting. We've been Very happy to see chefs pick up the product here in Seattle and Portland in particular. And cooking with the cheese melting, whether it's on pizzas, in lasagna, on Cubano sandwiches. We've seen it used in all different applications. And that's one of the coolest parts to me as a cheesemaker is seeing the cheeses in all their different varieties of being eaten. You jump back to the screen here, and I'll show you guys a few more pictures of some of our other cheeses. This covers a lot of our cheeses in the what we call the fresh collection. So we do a collection of fresh cheeses, but also a collection of aged cheeses from anywhere from 3 weeks to, like I said, maybe 2 years old. That's kind of how we split our offerings up, is sort of into a fresh collection of cheese and into an aged collection of cheese. The aged collection is one that we've been developing more over the last year and 2 years. And we look forward to getting those cheeses more out in the market. We've got some great new products there as well. But certainly one of the originals that is worth touching on is a cheese called Ketchiota. This beautiful basket formed wheel is made by hand. Each wheel is formed into shape by hand by our cheesemakers, and it's just a I think a pristine fresh cheese. It really highlights the quality of the milk on our farm, and it has a nice light flavor. I always describe it as mild but delicious. It's kind of a difficult cheese to describe. It's a flavor all its own, and it's completely unique. And in Italy, it's consumed sort of at the table on a daily basis as a very humble cheese, affordable for the people of the local villages, and it's eaten fresh. It's able to be aged several weeks, which we do. And we were very lucky, I feel, in 2015, actually, when we first started producing this cheese, it immediately won an award at the Washington State Artisan Cheesemakers Festival, and then went on in 2017 to place at ACS, which we feel like really has proved this cheese kind of to be just a very unique flavor and a special cheese to bring to the Pacific Northwest and really to the American market. There's not very many Ketchiotas being produced in the United States. And my mentor, Rafael, was very puzzled as to why this would be. He just thought Ketchiota is a great cheese. We should make it, of course, like if we would make Asiago and Scamorza and mozzarella and provolone. And so that's what I chose to do. I basically asked the advice of my mentors from Italy, from all the different regions, what cheeses they would make if they had the facility that we had built. And then obviously they had access to the milk that my father and my uncle have created on the farm. And that lineup that you basically see here in front of you as our fresh collection, provolone, fresh mozzarella, Ketchiota, Scamorza, and we make a special low moisture farmstead mozzarella, which is great for grating over pizzas, pastas, and melting in all different types of cooking applications. But that's really our fresh collection. We really pride ourselves as Italian style cheesemakers in this part of the family of our cheese, because Italy is renowned around the world for this style of stretched curd cheese production. This is a Ketchiota wheel that fits in the palm of our hand, basically. And it shows you a little bit just how small and petite they are. We'll get into a little bit of our aged collection now. These are some of our first aged wheels. As you can see, the beautiful format on the sides and the shape of the wheel. Clearly, we had some help when we very first got started. I was able to work as a cheesemaker for over a year in a facility here on the Olympic Peninsula called Mount Townsend Creamery. And following that experience, I was very lucky to meet Raffaele Mascolo. Raffaele is on the right here. He's my mentor. And Raffaele is posing with me very proudly with a cheese we set out to make called Bella Grana, which is a Grana style or Parmesan style recipe. And obviously very large format wheels. These wheels are approximately 50 or 55-pound wheels. And this is Raphael and I, 5 to 6, this is probably 6 years ago. But a lot of our passion in our cheese making, again, our recipes come from Raffaele. And it's very important, I think, to touch on the fact that passion is what drives this project. We're very happy to be making cheese, and we certainly focus on the business aspects of cheese making. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we're trying to do something special here in tradition and in a family setting, and in a way that is sustainable not only for the environment but also for our community, and that means our employees as well as our animals. This is a picture of my beautiful wife, Nydia, who manages all of our marketing. I stuck a slide of her in there just because she's behind the scenes, but all of our logo design, brand, packaging, website, social media is this face behind it. Her name is Nydia. And like I said, this is a family operation. Everybody helps out in whatever way they can, certainly. This is some of her work and some of our work on the cheese making side. This is a cheese we're very proud to introduce called Round Bale. And we'll taste through some of these cheeses in just a minute, but I wanted to show you the picture of this one at least. This cheese is a hard grating style Italian recipe, which has a nice piquant bite to it, but extremely hard texture, despite being a whole milk recipe. So we make this cheese from whole milk. We use our spinos to cut the cheese to rice grain sized particles, and press this cheese for over a day to achieve very low moisture. And then we're able to age that for well over a year. And the flavors that result are some of the most special things to come off of our farm, in my opinion. And we were lucky also the last year that we won for first place mozzarella category. We also were able to take first place in the Grana hard grating Italian style category of Parmesan type cheeses with our cheese Round Bale. So again, I'm very proud to introduce Round Bale and our sort of lineup of cheeses. I'd like to kind of taste through those with you guys, and I think so too. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. It's been fun, and it's always fun to share it with you guys. I hope that was satisfactory. There's been a while since I've had any human contact really outside of my cheese. So it seems like.
I know that feeling, so good.